Hi, I'm Stephanie Chiswick, Editor-in-Chief of CoatingsPro magazine. In light of being able to meet with folks face-to-face these days, we've decided to start a new video series where we're meeting with subject matter experts in the field. We're excited to have with us today John Lihwa. He's Area Sales Manager at Graco. Thanks so much for joining us, John.
Thank you for having me, Stephanie.
So it sounds like Graco has been busy this year already. You have already started with the e-Xtreme Z60. Can you walk us through what that is?
Yeah, so over the past couple of years, Graco's been working on developing a truly airless or direct electric drive sprayer specifically for the protective coatings industry. So everyone's familiar with Graco electric sprayers for traditional architectural coatings. And now we have versions that are available geared specifically for protective coatings. In particular, we have a model called the Z60, and this is an electric sprayer that's capable of generating up to 6,000 psi pressure. So this is a sprayer that's able to handle highly filled and 100% solids materials now. It's 220 volt, single phase, 20 amp operation. I tell everyone you could basically plug it into the dryer outlet in your home and be able to run it and still spray these difficult to spray coatings. The other thing I'd like to mention is the pump is incredibly easy to use. You can use one of our air-driven pumps or one of the smaller electric pumps. You'd be right at home with this one. There's a simple on-off disconnect switch to turn it on and off, and then a knob that's labeled 1 through 10. It's just like the pressure regulator on our air-driven pumps, where as you increase that knob, you're building more pressure through the pump. So you just turn it up or turn it down depending on what you're spraying. And then it uses the same pump lowers as our King and older Xtreme series pumps as well. So once again, very, very simple, very familiar.
It sounds great. Is there also a component that's helping with noise on the job site?
Yep. That's a great point to bring up there. On some demonstrations that I've been on where we're starting up this pump, I'm talking to a group of people around the pump, and I'm always asked, when are they going to start spraying? And meanwhile, they've been spraying for 15 or 20 minutes. Since it's not an air motor that's driving it, it's an electric driver on it, it's surprisingly quiet operation. Another big feature of it, since it's electric, is it will never ice up. All air motors that are driving pumps, when that air exhausts, it gets very cold because we're trying to exhaust it so fast. With an electric motor, you don't have that issue anymore.
Sounds like you also have a new updated version of the XTR. Can you walk us through what those are?
Yeah, so we've had the XTR spray gun around Graco for quite some time now. Two different versions, one rated for 5,000 psi and another run rated for 7,250 psi. We recently, in February this year, launched the XTR Plus version of both of those guns. And basically what we did was our engineering team came up with a method to rebuild those guns without having to use any special tools. In the past, there was a small tool that shipped with the XTR5 and XTR7 guns in order to remove the needle to rebuild the gun. Now there's a feature machined in the gun body itself and a mating feature machined onto the needle so that you're able to unthread the piston off of the needle and quickly and easily replace it all without having to need any special tools in the field.
I mean, that sounds like that could also make a big change for the contractors to not have to have the extra equipment or instruments, I guess, to make those changes.
Absolutely. It saves a lot of time as well, especially on a job site. Things are easily lost and misplaced. So not having to try and find that special tool is a huge time saver. The other thing with the engineering that went into that gun, we were able to reduce the price of those guns as well. So now there's a cost savings for our contractors that are using our equipment in the field.
Could you also walk us through your new XHF spray gun?
The XHF spray gun has also been out for a while now as well. Graco made a new version of that for release this year as well. We're calling it the top feed XHF spray gun. Quite simply put, the hose, instead of coming in the bottom of the gun, is coming in the top. The XHF spray gun was originally designed for very viscous, extremely highly filled materials, materials like epoxy intumescent fireproofing materials that are filled with fibers. It's a front feed gun, so the hose connects right up behind the spray tip. It doesn't have to flow through the handle, and there's a lot of pressure drop in areas where materials can pack out in there. associated with that, so it's right behind the tip. These guns were used in a lot of water and wastewater applications where contractors are going down into manholes or lift stations or wet wells and recoating the linings in there. And especially in manholes in tight spaces, they were fighting the hoses as the hose would come down into the manhole and then have to kind of bend at the bottom and come back up into the gun, or a lot of times they're trying to hold the gun upside down. So we just came up with a pretty quick solution of having those hoses come in on the top of that spray gun now instead. So especially, like I said, in those tight spaces, makes a world of difference when you're having to fight those hoses. Now they no longer have to do that.
That sounds great. Were there any other details that you wanted to mention that's coming out of Graco these days?
I would just say stay tuned. Graco has a big team of engineers working hard behind the scenes in Minneapolis, where our headquarters is, constantly trying to come out with new and innovative solutions to help contractors and end users in the field obviously perform their jobs more efficiently and easier and faster.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, John. Again, this is John Lihwa, Area Sales Manager of Graco. I'm Stephanie Chizik, Editor-in-Chief of CoatingsPro Magazine. Please do follow up with Graco in the link that's going to be in the description below to schedule a call with them. And as always, happy coding.